comedy friendly, to say, booster pack prizes. Alright guys, so we're into round 4 of tonight's Friday Night Magic standard event. Round 4 is the last round of Swiss, and then we'll be cutting to a top 8 after this. You are seeing the match from our top table. They're playing it out here because it was a pair down. Nick Reid is undefeated on blue-white control. We've seen him earlier tonight, a very classic control deck. And his opponent is Alec Myers on the Colossal Gruul deck, the deck that takes advantage of Traveling Satyr and Nykthos Shrine to Nyx to generate a ton of mana and flood the board with some massive, hard-to-deal-with creatures. Right now, Alec is on the all-mana dork plan, serving in for as much damage as possible, trying to race a turn 2 Ratchet Bomb and what is likely going to be a turn 4 Supreme Verdict. So Alec with an Ooze, a Burning Tree Emissary, scrying off a Temple of Triumph, tapping 5 mana for an Arbor Colossus, and then serving in here, so playing into a Supreme Verdict if Nick has it, and there is a Supreme Verdict. So interesting choice of Alec choosing to play out the Arbor Colossus. Could have saved that, as we especially after resolving the divine or the divination. Very likely that Nick is finding one copy of his 4-of Supreme Verdict. Ratchet Bomb up to 3 takes out the Domri. Nick already in firm control of this game. Alec down to 2 cards. 4 lands in play is all he can muster. And no copies of Nykthos. And Nick is at the discarding last breath portion of the game. So Nick stuck on land, Alec stuck on business. And we grind to somewhat of a halt here in game 1 of our round 4 feature match. So there's Alec casting a Burning Tree Emissary. Whether or not it cascades into anything in terms of its generated mana, I'm not sure. But we're going to see a Essence Scatter take out the Emissary, and a Celestial Flare take care of the Elvish Mystic. So Nick is all answers all the time here. And a Jace is going to draw him some cards. We see Dissolve, Land, and Detention Sphere. Take the land or the Dissolve here. Or take the land or the Detention Sphere here. Looks like Dissolve is the answer. Alec just plays a Nykthos and passes back. These two guys playing at a breakneck pace. Alec, of course, known for that. So not surprising. 3 mana 4, we're going to see another Divination. We are. Some of these blue-white decks play a singleton copy of Quicken just so they can instant speed that, or a Supreme Verdict. Not sure if Nick is playing that or not. There's the Dissolve that Alec knew about, allowing Nick to scry a card to the bottom. No, I believe he scried it to the top and just kept it in his hand. It was a Detention Sphere off the top. So 6 mana usually means Aetherling, and there it is. Alec just runs out of Sylvan Caryatid, but this game likely over, as Alec has no real answer to the Aetherling. And Nick not at a life total that Alec can really threaten in the current state of the game. A question in the chat about whether or not Alec can just draw in here. There's a very good chance that these guys are just drawing into the top 8. It's more than more than likely that Alec is safe here, so Nick can scoop him in. But some of the top tables weren't playing, so I wanted to make sure that we at least had a round. And these guys said they were going to play for fun regardless. So not sure exactly what they're going to do as far as their record, but I'm pretty sure, like you indicated, that both of these players are safe. But it's still magic to be had. It's still magic we can watch. And Nick takes game one despite being stuck on mana early. Off the back of Supreme Verdict, finishing things off with an Aetherling. And we move to game two. Yeah, these guys are clearly just drawing into the top 8 here, not bothering to sideboard. A clear indication that we are watching one just for fun. But this is a matchup we haven't seen tonight between Mono Blue and Colossal Gruul. I'm not sure the way that the numbers of the tournament worked out. I'm not sure if there's actually a live match out there. I think everybody can just draw in, and then there's one match where. No, I think there is one match that matters, but yep, there is one match that matters. But that involves Joe Lewis, and he's won on camera like 3 times tonight. So back to the action here. Domri on turn 3. Traveling Satyr preceding it by a turn. And then a Pelucranos. And commits Satyr beatdown. So Nick ticking up a Ratchet Bomb to answer that Domri. We're looking desperately here for a sweeper to take care of that Pelucranos. We see a Celestial Flare in Nick's hand. So if Alec doesn't play around it and attacks only with the Pelucranos here, he's going to get blown out. Then the Ratchet Bomb's going to tick up and take care of Domri next turn. And in fact, we are going to get flared here. Tick up the Domri, miss, and land a Garruk. So Alec choosing to not play around Celestial Flare for the ability to tap Nick out and land a Garruk, which is probably better in the long run. And then Alec choosing what he wants to do with Garruk. Not sure what we're debating here. These guys are talking about something, maybe the interaction or the sequencing of these two plays here. But I guess the discussion here, since this is just a casual game, is Nick saying whether or not it's better to play the Garruk, look at the top 5 cards, then look at Domri, and then that way you can see 6 cards deep. I think it's a very minor, marginal thing, but I guess worth considering. So we're going to plus Garruk and lead the Stampede here. We whiff, revealing another Garruk, some lands, and an Elvish Mystic would go into Alec's hand. And then he's just going to pass back. He knows Domri's going to eat it. But Nick needs to find a D-Sphere here pretty quick to answer the Garruk. So here's a Jace. We're going to draw some cards here. And the Mini Factor Fiction reveals Azorius Charm, Temple of Deceit, and Supreme Verdict. Nick takes the land and the charm. I'm going to scry here with the land, ship it to the bottom, and then go ahead and blow up Domri before Alec has a chance to activate it during his turn. So we know there's a Elvish Mystic in Alec's hand. Another Garruk activation revealing his Indigos, 2 lands, and 2 Traveling Satyrs. Satyr's not necessarily what you want to be drawing in this situation. Satyr's good in redundancy, but not good when you have only 3 devotion. As Nykthos can't turn a profit until you have 4. Well, there's a Caryatid, so now we are turning a profit here. So activate devotion for green for 4 mana. Nope, just playing another land. Then then activating Devotion and playing an Arbor Colossus. So we haven't seen a Supreme Verdict out of Nick so far. And there it is. But that Garrick's still ticking away. We've seen Alec in previous weeks' Ultimate Garrick and do a lot of degenerate things with it. And so Nick is drawing a thin to D-Spheres here as his only answer in this situation. And Alec just flooding the board again. And I think end of turn, we're activating Devotion here, counting it up, and then Alec is just going to empty his hand. I apologize for the glare, but loading up on Traveling Satyrs, Elvis Mystics, and eating a creature with his Scavenging Ooze. And then, as expected, Nick cycling his Azorius Charm, looking desperately for a Detention Sphere. But at this point, he's also pretty cold to the creatures on board. A +1 from Jace will help Fog basically for a turn, at least save him a lot of life, but he's just going to draw cards here, so let's see if there's an answer. 2 lands and a Celestial Flare. Not what you want in this situation. I guess we keep the untapped land if... oh, that can't be right. I guess we keep the untapped land and the Celestial Flare now. It's an obvious one. Not sure why Alec stacked it like that. So I think you just go lands or spells. Are we going to see an Elspeth here? 5 mana, 4. Jace. Architect of Thought. We're going to mill 1 and draw 1. Not Architect of Thought, Memory Adept, I should say. And just passes back. So we're going to Ultimate Garrick, so let's see what happens here. We're going to play an Elvish Mystic. Garrick Emblem Trigger. Go get a Pelucranos. No, go get a Rurik Thar. 1 of Rurik Thar in the main deck. Go ahead and shortcut here. Casting a Traveling Satyr. Go get Nylea. Now they all trample. Now our Nykthos activation is enormous. And the subsequent attack is going to be enough. Nick cold to the 6 damage off the Rurkthar, even if he comes up with a sweeper. So these guys notched up at 1 apiece. Moving into Game 3, and they're going to sideboard here in Game 3, it looks like. Again, these guys apparently drawing into the top 8. 2 games unsideboarded in the 3rd game. They are going to sideboard, and they're going to let us see how they board. Question in the chat while we're in between games. What is my opinion of Deathrite Shaman in Standard? Well, I'm not sure Deathrite Shaman in Standard is very good. Because with the rotation of Unburial Rites, not only have we lost a reason to play the best cards which enable Deathrite Shaman, we've also lost the cards which Deathrite Shaman answers the best in the form of reanimated creatures, Unburial Rites, flashback cards like Lingering Souls. I think genuinely it's just not a very good card at this point. I guess you could sideboard it in some instances, but Scavenging Ooze does a pretty good job of interacting with the graveyard, and without the mana that comes with a fetch land mana base, I'm not sure that Deathrite Shaman is any good right now. Yeah, it looks like we're having a little lag on the stream. I don't know what's up. I think it's sorted itself out a little bit here. Our bandwidth signal seems pretty strong, so I'm not sure exactly what's up. Might be an issue on the Twitch side of things, but I'll try to monitor that and see what I can do to fix it if needed. So, we're into Game 3 here. We've reached our sideboarded portion of the match. Alec leading off with an Elvish Mystic and a Burning Tree Emissary, and then landing a turn 3 Domri. That might have been a turn 4 Domri, actually. But Nick going to answer with a Detention Sphere. He's already got a Ratchet Bomb on 1. Seems like he's had a turn 2 Ratchet Bomb in all of these games, and I'm not sure he plays more than 1. So he must just have an uncanny ability to draw Ratchet Bombs. So we're playing another Domri here. We reveal Scavenging Ooze off the activation. An Arbor Colossus already revealed from the previous Domri. And Alec stuck on mana a little bit here. You might want to blow this Ratchet Bomb for 1 just to keep Alec mana light. Though I guess you want to be ticking it up to kill the next Domri. The problem in this case is that a Ratchet Bomb activation for 3 will just rebuy the old Domri, which is hiding under a Detention Sphere. So we're losing my man Joao in the chat from Portugal. He's going to take off to bed, so thanks for watching as always. So there's a Xenagos and a third copy of Domri Rod. No, it wasn't a third copy. It's a bounce from the Cyclonic Rift. My apologies there. Attack in to keep Jace honest. And both of our players suffering from mana issues. But Alec in a pretty good spot behind 2 active Planeswalkers. Nick plays his 6th land. I think he has his Aetherling in his hand. Might be in a situation where he just has to try and race Alec's board here. We reveal off of Jace -2 a Sphinx's Revelation and 2 cards I can't make out. One I think is a Dissolve. And I guess we'll never know what they are as they go to the bottom. Nick choosing the pile with the Singleton Sphinx's Revelation, which at this point will allow him to draw 3 cards and gain 3 life. So Alec continues to draw cards off his Domri, but still struggling to find the mana he needs to cast them. Playing an Emissary, we can chain into a Caryatid, and we now have enough mana to cast a Colossus, I believe. 6 mana for Rurkthar? No, for Garrick. I think Garrick is going to meet a Dissolve, and Nick is going to scry his top card away. Emissary going to serve into to keep Jace honest here. Knock him down to 1. Nope. We're going to blow the Ratchet Bomb at 2 and clear out all of Alec's mana dorks. Not only does it prevent combat damage to Jace, but slows down Xenagos' +1 ability, keeping Alec stuck on mana. And there's a Cyclonic Rift. We're clearly going to take that, I would think, as a 7th land in the Rift is pretty brutal. No, we're shoving the Rift to the bottom here. Do we already have one in hand? No, we're just going to run out Aetherling here and try to race. So Domri, 2 more turns away from ultimating. Xenagos' 2/2 Satyrs are going to have a tough time racing the Aetherling with Nick at 13 life. tick up Xenagos. And play a Mistcutter Hydra for 3. So that's going to knock Nick down to 10. And it's going to prevent, or going to pose a bit of a problem here. We can't block the Mistcutter Hydra with the Aetherling. We do have a verdict, so I think we're going to serve in with the... We're going to make the Aetherling unblockable. We're going to attack the Xenagos. We're going to pump it enough to kill it. Then we're going to de-sphere a Domri. And are we going to sorcery speed blink our Aetherling? That seems horrible. We would just leave that island up and blink as needed here. We know that there's a Supreme Verdict in Nick's hand, so likely next turn he's going to attack, blink his Aetherling, clear the board, then try to win off his Aetherling the next turn. So we've got a naked Aetherling here. Not sure it matters, not sure if Alec has a direct answer to it. So Nick serving in, we're going to block the block the Scavenging Ooze. We're trading off the Aetherling here, as we're going to eat 3 creatures from graveyards. Nick goes down to 7. Board's going to clear, but then Nick is going to need to find a way of winning this game now. I think he did draw a Jace off of an earlier, a Jace Memory Adept off an earlier Jace Architect of Thought, so that might be his win con here. Plays his 8th land, clears the board with a Verdict. Now Alec untaps. And plays a couple mana dorks he'd been sandbagging. We'll see what Nick can come up with here in ways of offense. No, he had another Aetherling. A lot of these control decks only play 1 copy of Aetherling, so I just assumed he only had 1. But it looks like he had a redundant copy. Meanwhile, Alec follows up with another Xenagos. Only makes 2 mana here. He can make a Satyr. And Alec at 19 life is on a 3-turn clock from the Aetherling. So he's not by any means in a world of peril. We're looking for some tokens here. We do find a Satyr token. Not sure what we're digging through our Fat Pack box to find. Maybe this is an off-camera something that's being handled. So we'll just have to guess what was going on there. So Nick untaps with his Aetherling. 8 mana available to him. Let's see how he approaches this one. Unblockable, swing in, kill the Xenagos. Do we have another Blink Sweeper here? I think I see a D-Sphere in his hand, which is not particularly good right now, as all Alec has is mana. Might as well just wait until he uses said mana to cast something big and then D-Sphere that. Excuse me. So we're just going to serve in with our little guys, choosing not to blink the Aetherling to block something. Going to go down to 3. Alec plays out a Scavenging Ooze, representing lethal on board, and Nick resolves a Sphinx's Revelation. 4/4 puts him back up to 7. More importantly, draws him 4 cards. Could not see what those 4 cards were, but very unlikely he hasn't drawn some kind of business there. We see a sideboarded Angel of Serenity, which is going to pick up Mystic, a Satyr, and a Scavenging Ooze. So effectively a sweeper. So there is 7 mana. Looks like Angel coming. Targeting Scavenging Ooze, Traveling Satyr, and the Satyr token. Well, no, I stand corrected. Looks like we're targeting Scavenging Ooze, Traveling Satyr, and his own Aetherling from his graveyard. Seems odd since they're not good in redundancy. And since we would outright kill the Satyr token if we bounced it. Nick reminding Alec that the Arbor Colossus is in fact in his hand. It was late on the table due to a very early Domri Rod activation. These guys are playing pretty casually. So rather than write it down, we'll just leave it on the table. So an unblockable Aetherling swings in, pump for the max, send Alec down to 5. This one likely over as well. Alec dead to a swing back from the Aetherling or the Angel, so answering one or the other is not going to be enough. Mistcutter Hydra, not enough. Nick has another Sphinx's Revelation. Alec has a Mistcutter Hydra. Mistcutter Hydra, if it went unabashed, would be one less than lethal. We know that Nick can gain 1 life at instant speed off of the Sphinx's Revelation. And he can blink his Aetherling and block something. But either way, Nick gets there and he wins this round 4